All right. Like, oh, you gotta throw a first down, even though it doesn't matter. All right,
Yeah.
everybody. We are back. Welcome, guys. It is Taped Online. It is your favorite Raiders podcast, favorite Raiders channel, favorite Raiders everything. We are back. We got my man BD right next to me. You got me at the Mark John NFL at BD Williams. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. You guys already know what to do. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. I know we'll start to get some listeners in here. But today we're going to be covering. I'm gonna be doing some draft stuff a little bit, kind of a little bit of some draft history. I'm a draft history guy. We did it last year. We did a little Tom Cable draft.
Yes.
We're gonna start to kind of do that.
Those are probably amongst our most well-received episodes. A lot of people were shouting you out on Twitter for, diving deep. And I mean, we talked about Alex Leatherwood, right? Fitting that profile. They drafted Alex Leatherwood. So, yeah, that's a really worthwhile study. Obviously, Josh McDaniels, he's going to maybe put his own spin on things, but I think it's a really good starting point, looking at the history of the Patriots drafts for sure.
Yes, yeah, but today we're more looking at the running backs, which he doesn't put a spin on. Yeah, he's the same. He was the same in Denver as he was in New England. I think it's a philosophy for the system of what they want a running back, but I think it's deeper than that too. It's a little bit of a there's a lot of things that go into it, but that's what I'm gonna be talking about today. I'm showing some banners and not some banners, but we're going over some athletic profiles. Talk about how each one kind of adds up to a running back that's kind of already here. So I want to talk about that too, which is kind
Okay.
of interesting. So,
Yeah.
what do you get into today, BD?
All right. So I went through Anthony Averett's tape.
Okay.
So I got an Anthony Averett breakdown. He was signed to play corner, and just watching. He was thrust into really starting role, one of the top three corners on the Ravens because Marcus Peters went out. And we had seen him play some nickel, or be the third corner to come in, even when it was Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey. So he's been getting playing time, but he played a lot. His most that he ever played in the NFL last year. So I'm going to go over one game of his against the Bengals. Really great heavyweight matchup against him and mostly T. Higgins, who's a real physical outside, wins on the outside type of wide receiver. So we're going to go over that tape. And then I also got into safeties this week, started watching some safeties for the draft. And, I watched, I think I'm through four safeties so far.
Okay.
I obviously watched Kyle Hamilton. Raiders aren't going to have a chance to draft Kyle Hamilton, right? I watched Jaquan Brisker. I was hearing a lot of good things about him. That's a fantastic athlete at the safety position. My goodness.
Penn State.
Penn State, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Just judging off of some of the clips that I'm seeing and the way people are talking about him, I'm really doubtful that the Raiders will be in a position to draft Brisker. You know what I'm saying? And then Jalen Petrae. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right.
You said it right.
Jalen Petrae from Baylor is a guy that you've been talking to me about him. You were impressed with him at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
And you were sending me clips from when you were out there of him, locking up these backs and these tight ends and man coverage. Which, okay, that's awesome. That's awesome that a safety, can do those things. But when I cut the tape on, I saw some other things that, in combination with coverage are actually pretty exciting about this Jalen Petrae guy. Of course, after I did the breakdown, I, edited my whole thing and, I got the whole breakdown ready and I started talking to you. I started talking to Matt and some other people, and everyone seems to think he'll be gone before 86 as well. So maybe this is for nothing, but Jalen Petrae, very exciting, very fun tape. Some of the most fun safety tape I've seen in a while from Jalen Petrae. So I just decided to put a breakdown together, and even if he's gone, I love watching safeties, so we'll talk about it.
Yeah. I'm a big Jalen Petrae fan. But safeties fall, man. We talked about Jerome Morig was supposed to be like our guy.
Yeah.
At 17, the Raiders ended up getting him at 40, and that was kind of a little bit of a steal there. So safeties do fall. Even Brisker, he's not on anybody's top 50 right now that I've seen. So it's not really a crazy thing to think that he would fall to 86 because somebody's gonna take a lot of these wide receivers. Wide receivers are gonna go earlier than some of them are gonna go earlier than we think probably because that's how the draft goes now. Everybody's snapping wide receivers. Like Van Jefferson went second round. I thought he was gonna go fourth a couple of years ago. He went second. The Rams came in, they just jumped on that right away and got him. So you never know with the safeties.
Never know with
safeties. I see.
And here's the reason. Here's the reason why you don't know with safeties. There's so many different flavors, and not every scheme fits every safety. So there's no universal necessarily. Like, unless you got a Minka Fitzpatrick, Derwin James guy coming out, right? Even Jamal Adams, that's not universal. You know what I'm saying? So, what should be, you should be able to figure out how to get Jamal Adams in your scheme. But we've seen some really boneheaded, like, defensive coordinators like, no, I only run my scheme and, all that. So, as far as it goes with the safeties, some of these guys, they're different flavors. And I'm going to talk about Jalen Petrae and the type of safety he is. And it's kind of an evolving look in the NFL. And he just so happens to be coming into the NFL at the right time where they are valuing this type of safety. So I'll talk about that too. But I think it really just comes down to just the different flavors, the different schemes, and how safeties are not universal. You can't just plug one safety into any scheme unless they're like an all-pro.
All right, man. All right, before we get into any of this, anything else happening with the Raiders? Any of the Josh McDaniels press conference you want to talk about? I'm kind of getting to the running back part of it that he was talking about.
He was talking about Alex Leatherwood. We can touch on that before we get into it, right? He talked about how Alex Leatherwood was, we talked about this before, but Alex Leatherwood was drafted to play right tackle. It sounded like McDaniels from that press conference hinted at him getting, that first crack at right tackle, which, it makes sense if you look at just the moves. Like, they've added a lot of pieces, but they haven't added any offensive linemen, right? So it sounds like they're rolling with the guys they got, and it'll be a competition, obviously. Is there anything from the tape that you saw that you think that this is salvageable, that Alex Leatherwood could play on the outside? He's not just an interior offensive lineman.
He has the same problems he had in college. So, once he's having the same outside hand issue, even when Brandon Thorne did like a breakdown about him, he's basically the same issues he had in college. That's why I was talking about them getting coached up with their technique. If he's having the same issue that he was doing then, like, who's coaching him? You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be having the same outside hand that you had before. You just switch hands, or it's the left hand in college, it's the right hand in the NFL, you're on the right side. So you shouldn't have those same issues. So if they could fix any of those things with him, I think they can do something with Alex. He has the ability and the athleticism. They can figure it out, which I thought was interesting about what McDaniel said is at the second press conference, which was kind of like they do like a hidden one, like they go wrap around and they invite like certain beat writers over there to ask him certain questions. He talked about how they are on the right side. They're just going right guard and right tackle. They're just going to kind of interchange them. And then they're going to decide who's going to be the starter at right guard, who's going to be the starter at right tackle, just kind of them through practice. So I think they think Illuminor can play right guard and Leatherwood can play right tackle. And they're going to give Leatherwood a shot there with Illuminor at right guard and Leatherwood at right tackle, which was the offensive line to start when they started off, like, that was the offensive line before it. I don't know what the hell his name was thinking. He decided that he wanted to do his little pet project with Brandon Parker. So, and then when he talked about Brandon Parker, he talked about Brandon Parker being a swing tackle. It's basically what he said. He's like, he's not going to start. He's a swing guy. He plays left and right. When he said that, okay, he's not starting. All right, cool. When they say he plays left. When he says he plays left and right.
Yeah.
If Miller goes down, he plays.
Yeah. If he's the seventh offensive lineman. Okay, great. That sounds good to me. Yeah.
That sounds good. Great. Yes. Yes,
And
he
people
can play
give
left and right. You're right.
people
Yeah.
deservingly give Brandon Parker a lot of flack, right? You know, you look into it, 32 starts, he's 6'8", you know, you could get, you know, try to find a bargain basement swing tackle, you know, or have a guy who's been here doing it. He has plenty of starting experience. And from the beginning of Brandon Parker's career to now, we're talking about really bad to
Yeah,
okay.
he's all right. I mean, he's to the below average, to god
Below
awful
average,
average.
below average, yes.
Swing
But
tackle.
from like
Exactly.
bad to like below average,
Yeah,
right?
from
But
from
you're
please
not
don't play the
finding,
NFL to swing
yeah,
tackle.
yeah, but yeah, right. So, but you're not finding a, you know, an above average swing tackle, right? That guy wants to go start. So you're not finding a guy necessarily it's better than Brandon Parker. That means like when I'm starting, you know. So uh, that I mean that's just my opinion on it. Brandon Parker being a swing tackle, yeah, like that's part of the business, you know. I'd rather see Brandon Parker as swing tackle than Dallin Levitt as safety. Sorry.
Yeah, which I saw that PFF war thing where Raiders lost all their safeties, didn't matter. Didn't move the needle. Don't need safeties. Down 11 out there, you're okay. It makes sense because I'm really smart and I don't watch. I've never watched football before until I started grinding numbers, and it makes sense that if you don't have a safety out there and you lose your starters, but they're safeties, you're okay because your war doesn't go down.
PFF for you, PFF.
They make football so damn smart, man. Like football is not football is like it's what Greg Cosell says. He says it's detailed, not complex. I mean,
there you go. Nice.
People try to make it seem so like it's just this deepest, like analytical, different perfect numbers. I need this little tiny numbers that like dog. It's just football, man. It's pretty brute. It's a brute sport. We're making it. It's a brute sport at the end of the day. But anyways. BD, you want to go ahead and get into your defensive?
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Let's get into it. All right. All right. So first things first, we're gonna talk about Anthony Averitt. He's a guy that I came away impressed, honestly, by him. Here he is at the bottom of the screen. He's playing. It's called a motor technique. You see his feet get out of there first before he gets his hands on. You know, 5'11", 188 pounds. He's going to get pushed around a little bit like he did at the top of that one. And we're going to see the size come into the play here. He's off, man coverage. His eyes are on. Watch his feet. Okay, great break. Just does not have the stopping power at 188 pounds to bring that guy down short of the sticks. So that's something that we got to worry about. But let's look at, you know, some good things in this game. Here he is at the bottom of the screen. Again, we're playing press. We're motoring out. Hands late. Great job. I'd love to see him get his head around, locate the ball here. Still does a great enough job disrupting the catch point against a real big athletic receiver who plays above the rim. Does a great job right there. Here's another one, Anthony Averitt. They're playing a banjo. He gets the outside break here. Okay, I think we do a solid job getting there, getting that hand in. Even if he's allowing a catch, he's still contesting it. So that's something that you like to see. Here he is again. Step forward before he motors out, gets those hands on. You see him get pushed there. Again, 188 pounds. Can get moved a little bit. Okay. He got bailed out there with a bad throw. I think the pass rush got there. Okay, top of the screen again. This time this is against Jamar Chase. Okay, I think a tendency that he has is he's going to grab on a little bit. I think he can get a little grabby from time to time. Okay, and we see that happen here. Maybe gets away with one, didn't get targeted on that rep. Top of the screen again. We're going to get into a press. Okay, going up against T. Higgins. You see him ride him, and he's in such a great position, outside leverage. He's forcing T. Higgins to fight back through him to go to the out. He's got help here in the hole. He's got help here in the post. Okay, so he doesn't have help here on the outside. So having that outside leverage forces that wide receiver to get out there or fight through him to get out there, disrupts the timing of this, disrupts that catch, breaks that pass up. Here's another one, top of the screen. Again, motors out, watch the feet. Does a great job mirroring. Okay, raking that catch point. He's competitive. He's feisty. So I like Anthony Averett. I'll talk about him after this, after it's finished. Let's talk about Jalen Petrae, Baylor safety, incoming draft prospect. Okay, so first things first. Jalen Petrae comes off the edge, flex side, run away. Look at him. Okay. Like a missile coming off the edge. Again, run away, flex side. I mean, it's away from the run, away from the run strength. You see him fly off the edge here. Man, look at the force that he just tackles with, just body slams, just power drives that guy. Okay, but it's not just runs away. If we're getting a run action too, okay, where we got the run coming to his side, watch him. Go ahead, get into the backfield. Oh, split that, get in on that tackle. Fantastic play. Says tight ends, no, you're not blocking me. Here's another one. Tight end, nope, not blocking me. Get in. Cause that tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
I love this.
Okay. Oh, and screens, no problem. Incredible number of tackles for a loss. I can't even remember how many times I've seen a safety make this many tackles for a loss. Incredible playing behind the line of scrimmage. Oh, but who cares about that? NFL's a passing league. Let's see if he can cover. So right now we're getting a man rep, and they're playing basically cover 5. And so he has safety help over the top, split field safety. Watch him. Be patient. He knows I got that safety help. I'm going to sit in that back shoulder. I'm going to try to undercut it. If the wide receiver goes one way or the other, okay, Jalen Petrae is in a great position to go ahead and undercut this. Okay, he's just blanketing this guy. This is a great coverage rep here. And he's got a lot of these. Here's another one. Same coverage at Baylor, too high. He's got man over the slot. You see him keeping his feet patient, knowing, again, safety help over the top. He wants to take it with the inside, and he does it, gets his head around to locate the ball, bat that pass down. Great coverage rep. Here's another one. We're gonna get the wide receiver. So 2 goes out, 1 goes in. Okay. Watch him. He's passing it off. See, he's pointing to the corner. Hey, you got that guy. I'm going to take your guy. And again, having that inside leverage, forcing the wide receiver to fight through him. Okay, and notice he's got his back to the quarterback right now. Puts on the brakes, gets his head around, locates the ball. Interception. What a play. What a play. That's not by accident. Here's another one. Man coverage. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get in breaking route on the goal line here. You see him leverage step, explode out of that break. Come down with that. Fantastic play. This is a guy sticking to Jalen Petrae for a second. This is a guy, when you talked to me about him, you were like, he's so good in coverage. He's great in man coverage. So the first tape I cut on was BYU, and he's just blitzing off the edge, just disrupting their whole game plan. Just blitzing off the edge, making all these tackles for a loss. Even if he didn't make a tackle for a loss, the quarterback's like trying to escape, and the play goes off schedule, and results in like a throwaway or someone else getting a sack on his team. Incredibly disruptive. So I was like, wait a minute, I thought this was a cover guy, and he's out there playing the run like a maniac, playing down in the box, blitzing off the edge. And then when I get further and further into his tape, I see all these really good coverage reps. So we're talking about a multifaceted, not a one-trick pony, a multifaceted safety. So I love to see that in defensive backs. The knock is going to be the same knock that I had for Javon Holland. He didn't play safety. He played nickel. Right? Uh-huh. So, and my thing with Javon Holland was he played nickel, but he didn't have good man coverage reps. His man coverage reps were actually really poor for Javon Holland. He has some good zone reps, but he was so good against the run. He was such a great tackler. My question was, he didn't really play safety. If he gets drafted to actually play safety in the NFL, like, we don't have that tape to know how good
Yeah.
he is in coverage, right? But for Jalen Petrae, we have some really good coverage tape for him. And more now we're seeing like Landon Collins, that's all he did was play nickel last year.
Yeah.
Jabril Peppers played nickel for Patrick Graham last year. You're seeing safeties play that nickel spot a lot more in the NFL. So I think that it's less of an issue than it was maybe like 5-6 years ago when they're like, wait, is he a linebacker? Is he nickel? Is he safety? What position does he play? Is he tweener? Like think about like when Kenny Vaccaro came out, and these guys, whether like they're tweeners, what position do they play? Now that doesn't matter because the position that he's playing right now in college is becoming an NFL position,
Mm-hmm.
even though it wasn't 5 years ago an NFL
Yeah.
position. So I think that's interesting. His tape, is super intriguing. You're telling me. I mean, some people are telling me he's maybe a first rounder at the end of the first round. That's what some people are saying. I don't know about that,
Mm-hmm.
because he is a safety at the end of the day, and I wouldn't put him like up there with like Minka Fitzpatrick, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because Minka Fitzpatrick did all the same things that he did, but he also played deep safety at a really high level too. So that's what we're talking about, like a first round safety. Okay, but Jalen Petrae for sure, like second round. If he's there in the third round, it's a need, and he's a really good player. I think he brings some of what Jonathan Abram brings in terms of the tackling
Mm-hmm.
and coming off the edge and just being that kind of like disruptor around the line of scrimmage. But then he also has some of what Trayvon Merrick has in terms of man coverage reps. So he's more multifaceted than both those guys. And with Patrick Graham liking to play three safeties, I think he's a perfect complement really to what the Raiders have right now. If he's there at 86, or if the Raiders get back into the second round or whatever it is. So that's an interesting name to look at. You have anything else to add on Jalen Petrae before I talk about Averett?
Jalen Petrae is one of my favorite safeties in the draft. I've been telling you about, you need to watch him for the longest, man, because I just thought he was legit. He had a great Senior Bowl. Everything you saw on tape, he did at the Senior Bowl. So, but at the Senior Bowl, we actually saw him play safety.
Yeah.
At the Senior Bowl, right? So he just does everything that you want. I mean, that's saying he's taking on tackles and stuff like that. Sometimes I've seen him do that. I've seen him make plays. Which you're showing from the nickel position. I've seen him, make plays in coverage. I know you didn't have the Oklahoma tape. I watched the broadcast of that one, but you still got to see him play a lot of good coverage against some of those Oklahoma wide receivers. And he was shutting them down too. So that's where I kind of fell in love with him as a prospect. And he's a guy that if he's there at 86, but there's a chance he's there at 86, then you know what I mean. He could definitely
sprint that card up.
Because I had to look this up while we were doing that before you get to Averett. I mean, there was 5 safeties taken before 86 last year. And I don't know if this class is better than last year's. So 5 safeties. And Divine Diablo is one of them. He doesn't even count because he's a linebacker. The Raiders took 2 of them. Actually, the Raiders took 3 of the safeties drafted in the first 3 safeties drafted. The Raiders took 3 of them.
So you're saying Tyler Gillespie, it's his time. We already invested. Remember when John Gruden said that? He was like, "No, we can't draft any more safeties. We already invested or whatever." Remember that?
See, I wonder how much they like if they like the Gillespie coming out. Because he has that game against Kyle Pitts everybody loves. That's a weird thing because he didn't play at all last year.
He didn't play at all. He didn't play at all.
Let Dylan Lovett play,
Right. And they re-signed Dylan Lovett.
And they re-signed.
I don't know. So I don't know what Terry Gillespie's deal is. I would love to see him come in and be a viable starter for sure. His tape is not as good as Jalen Petrae's tape. As far as Terry Gillespie, I think he's a similar profile player to Jonathan Abram. Honestly, but he had that really good game against Kyle Pitts. So Jonathan Abram can't say that he had a really good coverage game against the tight end, because when he played T.J. Hawkinson, the Iowa tight ends, they worked him in college. When they went up against Mississippi State. So at least Terry Gillespie has that, but we aren't seeing him. We don't know why that is. Hopefully this coaching staff can get something out of him, and if not, if the safety is an option, Jalen Petrae is available. Yeah, that would be a great ad. Okay, so Anthony Averett. So when I got into his film, I wasn't sure like what I was going to see, and we saw exclusively man coverage from him. Like he's only playing man coverage, and they're asking him to play a lot of press man. And being 5'11", 188 pounds, playing press man, I was actually surprised to see how competitive and how feisty he was out there, like contesting everything. Okay. Even the catches that he did give up, it was very close, and his hand was like in the catch point. There was no yak or anything, right? So he's a competitive guy on the outside. I think that he's a fantastic mover. You look at his 40 time coming out. He's a guy who runs 4.3s, and it's just effortless. Moving around is just effortless for him. But I do think that playing exclusively press is probably doing him a disservice a little bit.
Okay.
And if he can get into a scheme where he can play off, you saw that back pedal, you saw that break. I'd like to see a lot more of that because his footwork is so clean and so explosive. Maybe we have Anthony Averett's like best football in front of him. If he can do more than just have to, being forced to play so much press man, because that's the scheme that they ran in Baltimore. They're sending the house. They're playing man coverage blitzes and all that, and so he's being forced to play tons of man coverage. Play a little bit more, maybe more zone. Play a little bit more off. Maybe we'll see even better Anthony Averett. As it stands right now, I would still have him penciled in behind Trayvon Mullen as a starter.
Okay.
As a starter, when it comes to corners is the only position that, to me, the starter, that doesn't matter. You need 4 guys. You need 4 corners who are potential starters, because you look at what happened to us last year in the playoffs, what happened to the Raiders last year in the playoffs. They're down corners. They got to go out there with undrafted free agents and, journeymen, guys who are past their prime. And they got, that's really, if Trayvon Mullen's in that game, I don't know. I think the Raiders have a good chance of winning. They're not getting, beating all those bombs to Jamar Chase. Trayvon Mullen's going to contest at least a couple of those. So, it's about depth at the corner position. So even if Anthony Averett doesn't start right away, I think that you still have a viable guy who's a fantastic mover, who's competitive and contests a lot of catches. You still have a guy waiting in the wings now, instead of having to sign Desmond Trufant off the street late in the year. So, I still think Trayvon Mullen will probably beat him out as a starter.
Yeah.
But you can do better or you can do a lot worse rather than Anthony Averett as your 4th corner, or whatever he ends up being.
So you said a little bit in your breakdown that he played in the slot a little bit, because he fits the profile of what a slot is usually in Patrick Graham. He's the same size basically.
Most NFL defenses, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's the same. Yeah, he's the same size as well. What's his name? The one dude, Holmes, Darnay.
Oh, Darnay Holmes.
Yeah, he's about the same size as him. So, do you see him maybe playing inside a little bit? Or, you talk about how the nickels, anybody really, whoever he decides to be that week. So,
right. Yeah. Oh, sure. He's definitely going to be in the mix. I'm skeptical that Hobbs is, really a true nickel. I think that it worked last year because it was just all this zone coverage, right?
Yeah.
But I think Hobbs would be impactful as an outside corner in this scheme, maybe a little bit more than a nickel.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hobbs could have a great year, because they run a lot of cover too. You get that safety down, especially when we get all these reduced splits. You get that corner down in the box, having to reroute the outside guys, having to be physical with that backside ISO the X, but having that safety help over the top and being able to play the run. That's the Nate Hobbs wheelhouse, right? He would shine in that role. Mm-hmm. So Nate Hobbs being in the mix to maybe even beat out Trayvon Mullen as an outside corner is not going to be outside the realm of possibility. And in that case, yeah, Mullen's not a nickel. So Avonte Maddox would have to be the nickel. Or I'm sorry, I keep on saying Avonte Maddox, Anthony Averett. Anthony Averett would be the nickel if Hobbs starts on the outside.
Okay, which they talked about. McDaniels talked about it. It's basically they're telling us that he's going to play outside.
There is something interesting, though. There is something interesting about McDaniels, because he said Hobbs is going to have a chance to compete at all of those spots. If he said both of those spots, he's talking about nickel and outside, but he said all of those spots. So I don't know if he means both right and left and nickel, or if he means outside, inside, and safety potentially. So I mean, who knows at this point? But when I saw McDaniels say all of those spots, the first thing I thought was maybe he's getting a shot at safety too. So I mean, and again, tackler, great tackler, physicality, yeah, like 6 foot, 200 pounds. That's a profile of an NFL safety. For Nate Hobbs, he maybe he could do that as well. I'm not going to put too many limits on it, and we'll see what this coaching staff can get out of these guys. But yeah, Nate Hobbs, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes in. I definitely think he has a chance to beat out Trayvon Mullen as the outside corner though.
So let me just one more question before we move on. Aaron Robinson, he was on the Giants. I was looking at him. Did he play outside? Do you remember?
No, he played nickel.
He did play nickel?
Yeah, he played nickel. He played nickel against the Chiefs and got worked. Was that the Chiefs? Was it the Chiefs? Yeah. Aaron Robinson, he played nickel for them.
Okay. Yeah, he only played 9 games. I'm just looking at it. Yeah, okay. All right. Mostly Julian Love up there. Little Julian Love.
Julian Love was their starting nickel, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Safety, yeah. Little Nate Hobbs at safety. You got any questions in here? I'm mostly just talking about Glenn Edwards, whether you can separate or not.
Yeah, well, so I saw a couple questions asking about the Z receiver. Okay. Is Davante Adams the X or the Z?
Davante Adams is everything. I think Davante Adams, whatever they want him to be on that day. That's what I think. That's what I think it's gonna go. Whatever Davante wants to do, because I talk about.
Do they call it that in McDaniels? Is it X and Z in McDaniels?
X, Z, F.
F is the slot,
and Y. Yeah, F is slot. It could be running back too, though. F is slot. Y. Yeah, so the normal stuff, Okay. So, I mean, there's an X and Z, but it's not gonna be the same thing every single time. It's not gonna be the same X and Z every single time, basically.
Davante Adams is gonna play in all of those spots. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
So then so say Davante Adams, he's at the X, Hunter Renfrow's at the F, right? Waller's at the Y. Obviously, they're asking, I guess, between Mac Hollins. I don't know if you've watched Mac Hollins yet, and Bryan Edwards, who would be that remaining outside receiver.
I think it's going to switch between them. I think this could be a battle between him, Robinson, and
Robinson too. Yeah.
Well, Mac Hollins is making the team though. We all know that. Okay, so Bryan Edwards, he has to make the team as a receiver because Mac Hollins is making the team. Yeah, he was brought in to compete at wide receiver, but he's a kicking team guy. He was brought down to make tackles on the kick team. That's what he was really brought in for, guys. So
yes,
he's on the team. He already made it. He's a special teams guy. He's coming to make tackles on the kick team, stop kickoffs.
I cannot. Yes, thank goodness. What a waste having all these wide receivers. None of them played special teams except for return man. Come on, you got one of your wide receivers has to be a gunner. Has to go down there on kickoff. Like at least one of these guys, please. Mac Hollins, yes, he does that. I've seen that. Yes, that's a smart allocation of your roster. You can't have only defensive players playing special teams. You got to have some offensive players too.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. So I mean, he had already made the team. So there's other guys. Him earning a spot and playing is going to be interesting. I mean, I haven't really checked him out. I saw some broadcast stuff, him making some catches for Tua, so I haven't really got deep into Mac Hollins because I don't know how much how many targets is Mac Hollins going to get. I mean, this is a Davante Adams, Waller, Renfrow world.
Yes.
Anyways. There's only really 3 guys that get targets. The Raiders are going to throw like 650 times too. I already know that. I know that's going to happen. They're throwing like 630, whatever. How many times they want to throw? They're going to throw a lot. So,
okay.
I mean, those guys will get targets, but I mean, this is a Renfrow, Waller, and Davante Adams world. So maybe Edwards can block though, man. I'll tell you that. That dude can block. and he's a willing blocker, and he does it damn well.
That's all he's going to be doing this year.
So maybe that's it. He might start just because of that. I mean, I'm serious.
Yeah, for sure. He can
That's
block. He can block.
one thing he can do really well is he will knock somebody's head off, block it for somebody, you know. So, but
all right, one more thing before you go on. A lot of people have been requesting me to do a Jaron Brown breakdown. That's in the pipeline. Next episode, tune in. Jaron Brown. I will have a breakdown. I'm not sure. You know, I haven't watched it yet. I've just seen that the guy's like makes a bunch of tackles. At least like a couple years ago, I remember he was like, you know, one of like the leading tacklers in the NFL. But honestly, I don't know much about him, so I gotta cut the tape on, and we'll see you next episode.
You know, I watched a little bit. You know, I'm not the big greatest linebacker guy, but he did just, you know, I could figure out what he did really really well. You know, like he was okay against the pass, and he's a little okay against the run. So and then he's undersized.
He's undersized, yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see your thoughts on that for sure. All right, so I guess I can get into what I was gonna do here, which is we're gonna talk some running backs today, which is gonna sound interesting. Like, why the hell are we talking running backs? We got Josh Jacobs, we got Kenyon Drake, we got was it Brandon Bolton, and is there a fourth guy right now? I mean, Jacob Johnson doesn't count. He's a fullback. He's not gonna do anything.
Jalen Richard's not under contract.
No, he's not under contract. Jalen Richard's gone, and then that's it.
That's right? Surprising. I felt like Jalen Richard fit, but you're gonna tell me right now.
Yeah, he doesn't fit. He doesn't fit. He's not tall enough. That's basically what it is. Okay. All right, well, so we're gonna get into that right now because, man, is that true? They only have. Demi is he's talking about alopecia. You gotta go smack Demi now. He said that, or I do. I get. Well, I'm not. We're not gonna do that anyway.
Oh man, they're coming for me. They're coming for me. And you're gonna give me $20 on top of that. Okay.
I gotta check this. Is there really only 3 running backs on this roster? Can somebody confirm this for me before I check this out? Anybody in the chat can let us know. Is there really only 3 running backs? Like running backs. Now I'm not talking about. I mean, I know Trey Regis is there, but I'm talking about like on the roster. Oh, Amir Abdullah. There it is. There's the other guy.
Oh, Abdullah. Yeah, Abdullah.
That's 2 in
there
it.
You go.
Amir Abdullah. I knew it was 4. So, you know, there is a type of look here, which, you know, I'm going to look up Abdullah, his size here, right? But it's interesting, BD. This is going to be weird but every running back that they have is basically the same size. Like every single one. Every running back that's been drafted since 2012 is the same size. Like almost identical. And it's crazy when I look this up how this happened. So basically the smallest that you're going to get is 205, right? Or maybe 203. All right. Maybe 203 is probably the lowest you're going to get. All right. Because Amir Abdullah is way undersized for what Josh McDaniels like. So that's kind of weird. That was
5'9", 205.
He's 5'9", 205. You know, I saw 5'8", 200. What's the
5'9", 205, according to Mock Draftable. So that was his
okay. So that's close. That's kind of James White. That's James White, basically. So
that's his combine. That's Amir.
Is it 5'9.5"?
No, just 5'9" straight. 20th percentile for backs.
Okay. So he's a little bit right close to James White, a little bit close, but that's like the lowest you're getting. You're getting 205, that right around there, that lowest amount. But the main key back, okay, the guy that takes the carries, okay, is 5'11", 5'10", 5'11", 215 to about 220.
Yes.
Every single one. I got examples here, guys. So
Sony Michel.
Every single one. Yeah. So like Sony Michel, right? So a couple other factors with it too. They have a broad jump over 9, which is not really big. It's really not really explosive because they're really about explosive running backs when it comes to running the football because they don't care about 40 times. They don't care. 40 times 4.57s. I guess they really like because they all run 4.57s too, which I thought was interesting. There's really no serious 4.39 guys in there. So they all run like 4.57s to 4.6s, but they all have a 10-yard split of 1.6 or lower. So like 1.61 or lower is the 10-yard split, and they all have a vertical of over 34. So basically, they look for guys with burst and explosion instead of speed. Which when you think about for the running back, burst and explosion is more of the idea of getting to the hole really fast, right? You don't have to have the long speed or whatever, because Damien Harris doesn't have a long speed, and he's running 70-yard touchdowns, right? So, you're ahead of what I was about to show, Michael. Because check this out. You ready? Are you ready for this? I got some examples here, guys. We're gonna do some comparisons here. If I can get to these my banners. Here's Brand out. Here we go. So let's start off with who we got here. We got Sony Michel and Josh Jacobs. You guys can see that on the screen. You see it, everybody? Good.
Yep.
Right. So you kind of see, Sony Michel is a little bit lower, 1.56. Josh Jacobs 1.6. Josh Jacobs 5'10", 220, 5'10", 214. Sony Michel is the bench. Don't. Yeah. I guess it's important. But you see the 40s, 4.54. But you see the splits, though, are basically the same. 2.62, 2.63, 1.56, right? No vertical for Michel, but that's who the Patriots drafted there, right there. Here we go. Next guy. Stephon Ridley. Stephon Ridley. Is it Stephon or Steven? Stephon?
Stephon Ridley.
Okay, my bad. I guess it's whatever it is. So he's probably a little bit on the bigger side, a little bit, but we still around 5'11", right? Bench same, right? He's that 40. It's interesting, but they don't care about 40s, right? 1.66 10-yard split, 1.6 vertical, 36 vertical, 35 for Josh Jacobs. And then we do the last one. We got Damien Harris, which is, these guys played together. These guys are the same draft class, 2019. They were a tandem. They won national championship that year. I don't know. They win every year.
One of those years, yeah. Damien Harris here, yeah, they did for sure.
This is the same. This is the same back basically. They're the same running back. It's like the profile. It's almost identical. Yeah. Jumps a little higher, right? So
a little bit more, explosive jumps, yeah.
Yeah. So looking at that, they're going to give Jacobs a chance. So they're probably high on Josh Jacobs. Just looking at that whole profile, they're probably high on Josh Jacobs coming out. So I think Jacobs is going to get a chance. Okay. But there were some interesting comments that Josh McDaniels talked about, and which I'm going to show a running back right here that I think fits that profile. And he talked about injuries a lot, right? How running backs are injured all the time. Running backs are injured all the time, right? So
Josh Jacobs included. Yeah.
What does that mean, right? That he wants fresh legs, right? So I believe that they're going to try to take a running back. They really, the Patriots basically take a running back like every year. That's what
every year.
Like almost. They took and the tricky thing with it though is they don't take running backs after the 4th round, and they don't take running backs from small schools. So that eliminated a lot of guys for me, right? They don't take any running backs from small schools. They've never done that. So, you could James White's Wisconsin, Shane Vereen, I think he's California.
Nebraska. Oh, no, yeah, California.
California for Vereen. You got, Michelle's Georgia, Harris is Alabama, Stevenson this past year. He is Oklahoma. Ridley. I forgot where Ridley's from, but I think he's Georgia, or Alabama, one of the big schools too. So, and like I said, not after the 4th round, which I think is crazy. They have some undrafted guys they've taken, but like Bolton, but Bolton 5'11", 222 when he's coming out. So there's a look to what they want from a back, and there's a guy that I think could be their 4th or 3rd round draft pick, and we're gonna look at him. And he goes by the name of Damien Pierce. Anybody heard of Damien Pierce before? You got any Damien Pierce fans in here before I get started? Anybody? Damien Pierce? Anybody? Yeah, yeah. From Florida. This is going to be a fun tape to watch, guys, because this is one of my favorite backs, dude. This dude's pretty fantastic.
Oh, this is who you were breaking down on Twitter today.
Here for this, sir. All right, here we go. So you guys can see that. Let me make this big. So got his first run here. You know what I'm saying? And they run a lot of different types of variations of power. So you got this pure sweep right here, and then you can see his burst and acceleration to get around that corner, right? And that quickness to cut inside around that block. Good vision. So I'll bring it back a little bit. Right, he sees the leverage guy coming inside. He's able to cut that inside, right? Then cut back outside, make a dude miss, get 7. And it's just everything's like this, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to the next one real quick, guys. Here we go. Another one. I really like this one. I showed this one on Twitter. It's a little counter right here. Nowhere to go. Everything's blocked up. It's a good job by Tennessee. Nothing there. Oh, no. Pierce breaks like 4 tackles. Cuts back upfield. Gets 6, you know. Right? So this is the one I showed on Twitter. And this dude fits, he's 5'10", 215. He's basically Josh Jacobs. He has the same profile as Josh Jacobs right here. And, you know, he actually reminds me of Josh Jacobs a little bit when I watch him run. Just a little bit more burst and acceleration, I believe. Right? So you check him out, get to the outside on this one, another pull. Instead of cutting inside, keeps it outside. Cuts in, finishes the block. Just love it. Love every second of it. Here we go. Another pull right here. More patience. Just patient, right? Wait for that hole to open up. See it one more time. Right? Let the blocks develop. Get skinny. 8 yards. Just keeps it just every second. I love running backs, guys. So this is just my thing. I love watching running backs. Same play, other side. Let's go to the other side. Oh, go right here. Boom. Same play, other side. Number 5 overcommits. Thinks he's about to get a good tackle here, but he thinks wrong. Dead legs him real quick. Inside. Makes a miss. Explosive, right? Just to tell you, just reminds me of Josh Jacobs, right? And they even gets the big boys of Georgia. You know what I'm saying? These monsters over here all getting drafted in the first round. Same thing you see right here. Little inside zone. Good patience here. Then you see it. See, he let the box develop. They come inside. He got Devontae Wyatt coming inside, right? But he sees that cutback, makes the cutback. Get some good yards right there. Then just tough to tell. Just boom. Takes out Louis Cine right there. Just, you know. You just love every second of it. Just love every second of it, guys. I don't know. I really appreciate that. Little breakdown right there. Sorry about that, Trey. I know you love you some Georgia, but that dude is a beast. So Devontae Pierce, man, is one of my guys. I really like him. But the running backs are not going to go really high right now, guys, especially like somebody like him. I mean, he's not really ranked top 5 any running backs. You got the Breece Halls, you got Kenneth Walkers, you got some other guy from some other high school probably that's getting, you know, buzz out there. So that's somebody that I'm really looking at. I really think his game really matches what the Raiders did. He went to Florida. So he went to Florida. You know, I'm going to pull up his RAS real quick. But, I mean, he fits this profile. I don't know, man. I was excited. Once I found out that he fit the profile, man, I was like, you know what? That's all right. It's okay. I really feel like they might just, you know, take that step and take him because it's just what they do. I mean, they've been doing this for the longest. Same thing with quarterbacks. They've been trying to make sure they get the right quarterbacks. They make sure they get the right guys coming in there. So I really feel like they're going to try to take some kind of running back in the fourth round. If they don't take one in the third or the fourth, they're not taking one. So that's kind of how I figured it out. So, but this dude really fits the profile. So let me pull this up real quick.
He didn't get drafted. He didn't get invited to the combine. Damien, this Pierce guy.
I think he did. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he got invited to the combine. So yeah, he's 5'9.5", 218. So he's 5'10". Then it's 44, 5'9". His of course his 10-yard split's 1.61. So he didn't get invited to the combine actually. Now that I think about it.
No, I found him. I was looking. I was writing his name. I was spelling his name wrong.
Okay.
10-yard split is tremendous. 151. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
That's like a corner. That's a really explosive. That's a really explosive 10-yard right there.
Yeah, his vertical's 34.5. Yeah. Yeah. So
about 10, 220. There you go.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, like I said, if they don't take one in third or fourth, they're not taking one. So, that's kind of how I look at it. But that dude is really, really good. Another guy I was looking at was Brian Robinson, but Brian Robinson, doesn't really have the burst that they like to see. He's kind of on the slower side. It's before I started really doing like a little deep dive into it. I was looking at Brian Robinson because he ran Erhard Perkins, and he did all that stuff. And, it comes from the system, a power guy, but he doesn't have the burst that they like. For the running back that they want, probably behind Josh Jacobs, because there's going to be a running back behind Josh Jacobs, and it's not Kenyon Drake. Because I didn't really look up what Kenyon Drake's size is.
6'1".
He's 6'1".
6'1", 210.
So maybe I don't know how much they really like Kenyon.
So the funny thing is, like when you look at this is just an interesting conversation for me.
Yeah.
Kenyon Drake had a 1.66 10-yard split, but runs 4.4s. Right? So not a super fast start, but he's gaining speed, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas this guy, Pierce, he's got a 1.51 10-yard, but he runs a 4.59. So he's explosive, right? But he doesn't ever get to that top speed that Kenyon Drake gets to. And Kenyon Drake's top speed, that's just a luxury because you got to get through the hole and you got to get into the open field before you can even use that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, you that's just like a cherry on top. Like that's just like the LaDainian Tomlinsons, the Adrian Petersons who had that burst, that had that vision that they could get to the second level and then use their speed to run away, right? Mm. But we don't really see that a ton from Kenyon Drake because the vision's not there, that initial burst is not there, stuff like that, right? But Damien, that's what you value more in a running back is their initial burst more than their speed.
Yeah, and that it made me think a little bit, especially how many running backs they've had come through there that are really good, and if they have this philosophy where they're more focused on your 10-yard split than your actual 40 time. I mean, that's might be the strategy that you should look at when you look at running backs. Because, I haven't looked at Breece Hall and those guys, but because Kenneth Walker was the other guy that I was looking at that would fit this. But I know Kenneth Walker's not going to be there, right? No, he's not falling that far.
And Kenneth Walker is a starter. He's like you draft him to take 250 carries his rookie year.
Yeah.
We use him while he's fresh, But that would be an awesome back to have. I like Kenneth Walker. He was dominated, some teams this year. What about the Michigan running back?
Haskins?
Haskins.
I saw a couple of them, a couple of people I want to look at. So Zeus White, I looked him up. He actually fits Zamir White, right? Georgia.
Zamir White. Yeah, okay, yeah, Zamir White.
Georgia, he's 5'11", 214, 40-yard dash, 1.51 split. He's around 34 vertical, but I mean, he's explosive. coming out the. I see a question about Jacobs. Jacobs was 1.6. So I mean that's basically where the Patriots want it. They want I keep saying that Josh McDaniels and that offensive philosophy. They want 1.6. So
that's the benchmark.
Yeah, so that's the benchmark. Is 1.6 and above. They might go to like 1. I mean, last guy that was the highest was Ridley. He lasted like 2 years with them. So they're like, you got to get out of here. But yeah,
well, once the burst was gone, he didn't have any room for error there.
You ran like a 4.73 though. That's
if you got a 1.51, when you lose a step, you're still running. You're still 1.6. If you're 1.64 or whatever it is, you lose a step, you're like not viable NFL running back anymore.
Yeah, not at all. So, yeah, because I was on the search. I didn't really fully get to go through every running back today because I figured this out like at 4:00 today. I was like, oh, what the hell? You know what I mean? Because it was funny because it goes all the way back to Knowshon Moreno. Knowshon Moreno basically has the same profile as Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
It goes back that far to Knowshon Moreno. When he looked up Knowshon Moreno and he took him in the first round, he is 5'10", 215, runs a 4.5, 4.6, 1.6. It was like, oh, wow, this is like a thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Now, I see a question about Brandon Bolden. I don't know if Brandon Bolden's going to make the team, to be honest. I mean, he probably will because he's probably I bet he's like a special teams guy or something like that, something deeper than that. But he's been on the Patriots for years and he plays like 30 snaps maybe every 3 weeks altogether.
Oh, okay.
And then it has to be like 4 running backs to get hurt, and then Brandon Bolden gets a chance, and then they don't run the whole game; they just throw 16 times. Brandon Bolden's playing, so he's like an emergency third down back, basically. Do
you know how well he does catching the ball out of the backfield?
He does pretty well catching the ball out of the backfield, actually.
Because I feel like also just from watching, the Patriots, it's like they have their bell cows. They have their Sony Michels and their Stephen Ridleys, you know what I'm saying? Even when LeGarrette Blount played there, even though that's like outside of the profile, it's a really big back.
Yeah.
But then they would have it's distinct, and it goes back to Kevin Falk, being that third down back. They just catch, they do not run the ball. They just catch back. Kevin Falk's in the game. Even who was Rex Burkhead or Danny Woodhead, one of these guys that they used as a third down back, right? Yeah. They're in the game, that they're just gonna pass the ball. We're not even fooling around with you right now, So I mean if that's Kenyon Drake's role and Bolden is there as an insurance plan or to compete or whatever it is, that seems more likely to me than these guys being a bell cow at any point.
I still think Kenyon Drake's there to teach the language, and I don't know how long he's going to last. I don't know if he's going to make it through training camp. I think he's there to help guide Jacobs and whoever they bring in as a young player to teach them the language of the offense because he knows it. I think he can help them, guide them that way because I don't know what's his fit. He can't block. They're just going to throw him passes. I mean, I don't know if they don't like running those type of running backs.
You got to block though, yeah. You got to block.
He can't block. I mean, Jacobs can block solid. Jacobs is not a great blocker. He's a solid blocker, though, man. I mean, Jacobs is fine third down, but I just don't think Jacobs can catch. I don't think he's a good route runner either. Every single down. So, I think that if they keep Drake, I don't know what he would do. You know what I mean? He can't block because literally they block the running backs block every pass play.
Yeah.
They check even unless they're doing wheels or something before they do those option routes, they're going to chip and then do option route.
Right.
Everything's a pass block, right? So if he can't pass block, I don't get it. I don't know why he's there besides being hurt and rehabbing and helping with the language because he's going to be rehabbing while they're going over the playbook. So teaching the language. Jacobs could be like, what does that mean? He could be like, da, 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 da. We get to September, yeah, Drake. So we already paid you through signing bonus. So enjoy that $6 million we gave you straight up front, and we'll see you later. So that might happen because they already got the dead cap.
Yeah, it's his contract. That's why he's here.
Well, yeah, I mean, they gave him a signing bonus, lower the cap, and then at that point during the regular season, what is dead cap?
Yeah, when you're in it,
when you're in the season, like what is dead cap? I mean, it might be some more next year. I don't know. I'm not a salary expert, guys. I might be wrong. Sorry. Don't know. Don't quote me on the salary stuff.
Might have some salary cap experts in the comments here.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but I mean, any other questions we got here? We got Kyron Williams. I think Kyron Williams is kind of on the. It's Kyron Williams. I know he had a bad profile. I'm going to have to go all the way to like the bottom. I thought his profile was bad. He ran like a 4.7 or something twice. What's up with the dudes? What's going on in Notre Dame over there? What are they doing over there?
Probably never run 40s.
Yeah. Williams, he's 5'9", 194. He did a good 10-yard split though. 1.57. Good 3-cone. Yeah, no Kyron Williams, guys. Will the Raiders draft a speedy wide receiver? I don't think we're going to draft a wide receiver. I don't think so. I don't think they're drafting a wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, by the time they get around to it, come on.
Unless some guy falls. Because the biggest factor, I talked about this on the radio the other day, the biggest factor in all of this is if somebody falls. They're 86. We don't know who's going to fall. It happens every year. Somebody that we think is that has the draft Twitter buzz, or they might have a top 50 player on Daniel Jeremiah's board, or maybe even top 32 player on Dan Brugler, or whatever people like to listen to, or just don't do PFF. Guys are terrible. I'm telling you. I know Matt Holder works for them. I just listen to me. Do not follow any of their draft stuff. That's just my advice from me to you guys. Mason Rudolph 25, Will Greer 24. That's all I gotta say. Anyways, draft stuff. You might find somebody that falls, and the Raiders might fall in love and might trade up and do that. That's kind of the.
Yeah, I mean they hinted at potentially trading up, right?
Yeah.
During the Ziegler said something about that, didn't he? Yeah, when he was getting he just had like a little press conference. Yeah. And he hinted like, hey, some things could happen or whatever. Yeah, so Rachel asks, what kind of season do you think Jack Gibson needs to have to earn a contract under Josh McDaniels? If you want to jump in, I'm just going to say right now, guys, he's not coming back. Patriots use running backs up and spit him out and get another one.
He's not coming back.
He will not be a Raider when his contract is over, guaranteed.
Will he get the 5th-year option is the real question for me. Are they going to keep him for 2 years, or are they going to keep him for 1? And if they do keep him, I mean, he's not getting paid by us. I mean, I think the 5th-year option is $8 million. I think.
Yeah, for running backs, it's like the cheapest 5th-year option, probably.
Yeah, so the 5th-year option is $8 million. They might keep him for the 5th-year option, and then move him to, they're not going to keep him. That's why I think they're going to draft somebody.
Yeah,
and just the comments, injuries. You need lots of guys there. Yeah. They only have 4 guys there. Who knows what Abdullah is going to make?
And he's not durable. Jacob, you can't say he's durable.
He's not. Exactly. So. And that's why I expect to draft somebody like Pierce. Some other guys that I didn't go over, like Master Teague, really fits the profile. He's from Ohio State. That's a big school guy. Master Teague. We saw Zeus White might be somebody that they take. Because I don't think Stevenson was supposed to go in the 4th round either. But Stevenson was more a LeGarrette Blount back. So I don't know. Maybe they get the look. Maybe they like a LeGarrette Blount, Brian Robinson, who's kind of fits that profile. I guess they could still take him because he's 6'1", 225, and that's what Stevenson was. But that's the only guy they drafted that was there. But it was still before the 4th round too. So they took Stevenson earlier than I think people thought they were going to take Stevenson. So I mean, they could take a Zeus White early. They could take somebody like that, but I think they're going to take somebody that just played in the power system and maybe fits what they want to do. But Jacobs is going to get a chance because I'm sure they love Jacobs coming out.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's going to be good. I think he's going to have a good year.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have. They're going to have games where he barely gets the ball because that's the way Josh McDaniels rolls.
Yeah.
But the games where you need them and they line up under center and they run the ball 30 times or whatever and just like catch everyone off guard, like the 2 or 3 times that they do that in 2022, yeah, we're going to see some good games from Jacobs for sure.
Yeah, I think Jacobs is. I think he's gonna have some good games just because he's just a lot better in the red zone now. I thought he improved there a lot last year. So just a good eye for the end zone. He's gonna help a lot because we're not gonna have Greg Olsen trying to throw the ball 17 times and break records in the red zone in the playoffs. So yeah.
Wow. Good to know. Good to know. One thing you can say of all these guys, even like look at Shanahan. Okay, they love to run the ball, but when they get to these big games in the playoffs or whatever, they abandon the run. Right? I don't know if Josh McDaniels ever done that. I think you can say he doesn't get cute. You know, he's not trying to gimmick his way into the end zone. You know. So I'm confident about that. Yeah, for sure. We're going to see some good situational football. And when it comes time to run the ball, I think we're going to see an improvement there. But, you were saying this offline before, the Raiders are going to pass the ball a lot this year. So, this whole running back conversation, I don't want to say it's like not a big deal, but it's more about like you're saying, having the flavors, having the stable of backs, having the fresh legs. And then also using these guys, because maybe we do see a Kenyon Drake featured game where he goes nuts, but it'll be like one game, right? Like that's the tricky part about defending Josh McDaniels and Patriots running backs over the years. It's just like you don't know who they're going to trot out. You don't know what schemes they're going to run. It makes it difficult for a defense to figure that out, and you can't do that if you just have one feature back. If you just have Josh Jacobs, and that's like the only viable runner. And everyone else is a third down back. Amir Abdullah is third down back. Kenyon Drake's like 3.5 yard down back. Like he's not
2.5 yards.
Doesn't block.
2.5 down back.
Yeah, he doesn't block. So you can't even call him a third down back, right? But like that's what these guys are. That's like we don't have like a bell cow other than Josh Jacobs. So I agree with you. Like that's a great observation for sure. They definitely draft tons of running backs over there with the Patriots, so that'll be interesting to look at.
Yeah, off topic, but I want Isaiah Likely. I saw the Raiders had a formal interview with him at the Combine, which I thought was interesting.
Have you watched his tape, this tight end?
I have not watched tight ends, but McDaniels mentioned tight ends twice during his press conference, so I decided I'm going to start watching tight ends.
Interesting.
And I talked about Darren Waller is 30. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He's 30. Yeah, but I don't think Waller's not gonna hold out. He's too worried. He doesn't really care about money that much. That's what I don't think he's. I think a lot of the fans think he's gonna hold out and stuff. But he doesn't care about money. He doesn't give a damn.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I agree. I don't think it would be smart for him to try to hold out, especially with the new regime change. If it was Gruden still, none of that stuff came out. Yeah, maybe we might see his agent, try to, convince him to hold out. But I agree. He's definitely a guy who's super thankful for, just being in the position that he is at all. And he's going to get paid. So there's I don't think he's going to hold out. I agree with you on that. All right. Anything else, Marcus?
No, man. I think that's it. Appreciate you guys listening. We kind of just came out here out of nowhere. But make sure you guys subscribe. I'm about to drop tomorrow my John Simpson versus DeForest Buckner. I'll let you guys decide who won that matchup. That's gonna be up to you. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna just break it down. I'll talk about in the comments. You guys decide who won that matchup. John Simpson versus DeForest Buckner. So I'm gonna do some more of that. We do some power stuff and some, we're just gonna do a lot more little breakdowns here. So we got you guys. You got any last thoughts, Speedy?
That's it.
All right, man.
Holla at your Raider Nation.
Peace out, guys.